in India, CA Day is celebrated as the establishment of the ICAI, and this year the 76th anniversary. I do want to pull you in and get some thoughts on that. Now you have been slightly more blessed than some of the other people right now. You were able to get like another shot at educating yourself a bit more. Get that passport to go a notch higher. You were able to pivot, but the foundation was very strong. And when you were at Harvard, you got the opportunity to look at how international framework works and to bring that to your own expertise in India. That always helps. Right now, the ICAI is trying to do some of these things even at entry level. They're trying to create these international relationships. They have kind of revisited their co-curriculum. I first want to draw your attention to the code of ethics that has come from the ICAI in light of things like compliance, etc. These challenges are growing. We have new bodies, not new bodies. We have new policies and regulations coming from existing bodies, and there's a lot of scrutiny that's going on. Now, just a quick take from you as an industry stakeholder, as a thought leader. How are you seeing how people are looking at things like compliances in the market right now? Are we doing enough? Are we understanding it enough? Are companies really investing in the right kind of CA or other kind of professionals who can help them with this properly?
Yes, again, I will draw something from my own personal experience. I think the kind of board, I'm going back to the time when I was in my late 20s or mid 20s, and I used to work with these numeraries, Narayan Murthy being one of them, and Vijay Bhaskar Menon, the guy who was behind the dark side of the moon. He was the chairman of EMI, Amal Ganguly. So I think some of these people had this common fabric, and Tarun Das, of course, fabric, which is corporate governance, right? So corporate governance is not just a term, fancy term, or something that you need to get a certification on. I think more than the letter, it is the spirit of corporate governance which is important. There is a very thin line between ambition and greed. There is always, especially for the chartered accountants who are looking at compliances and looking at, closing deals and stuff like that. Sometimes one is confronted with this situation where you could possibly take a shorter route and get things done, but you have to be very, very careful. I think corporate governance in the short run may seem hard. Doing the right thing sometimes can be painful, but in the long run, Noor, it always pays. And I'm telling you this not just because I feel for it, but because there is research done on this, and I can't remember the source, but if I'm not mistaken, I think some Goldman Sachs report, I'll get back to you on the source, but it said that two similar companies, but one with a higher corporate governance can get a valuation as high as 28%. So Mr. Murthy actually laid a lot of stress on corporate governance. And he used to say that, let the bad news take the elevator and good news take the stairs. So it's always like you put in front of all your stakeholders the true picture of what's happening in the company in terms of doing things within the organization. Like I said, it's both letter and spirit, not just complying for the sake of compliance, but you strongly feel that, yes, this is the right way to do the thing. So I think for young chartered accountants who've just got into the industry, keeping this in mind is very important, because we are obviously on a fast track right now. World is changing so fast. Even the adoption of technology is changing so fast. I was looking at some data where it showed that it took Netflix 4.5 years to get 1 million subscribers, and it took 10 years to get 100 million plus. But for OpenAI, in 1 month they did 1 million, and in 2 months they did 100 million, right? So that is how technology is changing, right? And with changing business, the need to govern the business, the need to ensure that things are done in the right spirit and done in the proper way. You saw what happened to the crypto company in America, right? So it's so sad, right? Young kid, bright kid, but just got lost in terms of doing, doing things fast, but taking shortcuts, and at the end of the day, so many investors lost money, right? Uh, so yeah, I think corporate governance is something which is very, very important for chartered accountants, because they know the the basics, the granular details in terms of what needs to be done in terms of laws, regulations, accounting, and look at the big frauds. Everything starts from something in terms of cooking books, right? Um, so yeah, I think if you do the right thing, it may be painful, and that thin line between ambition and greed, you have to be very, very careful. It's good to be ambitious, but it's not good to be, from a CFO's perspective, not good to be greedy. It's maybe from a CEO's perspective, you may be greedy to attain certain milestones. That's okay, right? But it has to be really achieved milestones, not just cooked up milestones. And that's where the gatekeeper, the CFO, the chartered accountant, his role becomes very important.
I love you said that. We were attending the Cannes Line festival, and everybody over there was like, anybody in the organization can be creative. And a lot of CEOs were saying, don't see that in front of your chief finance officer. Like they really would not appreciate that as an idea. But coming back to interesting segue to technology, there is so much available right now, and in this profession also, technology and AI especially has helped in taking away some of the the dredge work. I would say the absolute manual work, etc.
Yes.
Now, it would appear that the advent of AI has allowed the hard work to go away in some places, so that the strategic and the thinking work can increase in some places. How does this apply in, if one has to look at it from a CA stroke CFO and whatever role one takes after that angle? How does technology really help in this part?
It helps a lot. I mean, look, technology earlier used to be a separate kind of a department division. And I think in every division, every sector, technology is the bedrock, right? So technology not only gives you speed, but it also gives you ability to manage, regulate a larger volume of work in a shorter span of time. But technology has both pros and cons, right? We all know that technology can be used in a negative way also. But so far as um, finances or numbers are concerned, I think technology has played a major role. Look at banks and all that. Look at blockchain. Look at the entire this digital fintech economy or whatever. So it's, and I think India is doing really well. I mean, even if you look at, I think our adoption is better than some of the advanced countries, including America, right? Um, so all this is very important from governance perspective, right? And I think it's important for chartered accountants to be ahead of the game in terms of learning what are the new trends, what are the new changes, what are the new technologies available. I think in our days, and I say in our days when I was the CFO and we had to look at compliances and stuff like that, technology was more of ERP implemented, which every company at some stage does, so that uh, you know you are able to get more authentic data in a shorter period of time. So that, right. So technology gives you speed, technology gives you compliance. But the other thing which I think technology, you talked about AI, Noor, is very important. Again, when I was making that switch from being a specialized accountant to a business CFO, I think that today things would be much better because um, how do you look at numbers? So when you have data from the past, because only when an event or a transaction has happened, you're able to get a number, and then that number can be an MI. Those numbers could be in your MIS or in your balance sheet or profit and loss account. You look at them, but what you're doing is you're doing a post-mortem analysis, right? Something has happened in the past, and you're looking at that, right? But rather than it being a post-mortem analysis, if those numbers could help you do predictive analysis, what can happen, right? Today, you can verbalize something to an AI machine and it can generate a video or generate a picture, right? So can you imagine, when things can be done in terms of predictive analysis, and that's what generative AI has done, and that's what it is, bringing a change in how managers look. We have finite amount of time. What is it that we have? What is it that we don't have? We have time and we don't have time, right? So if I am the CEO and I have, say, 10 hours a day, and I'm doing multiple meetings, right? So with AI, I know AI can tell me that, whether I'm investing my time properly or not. If I'm dealing with a certain company or a certain individual, what are the chances of him coming back or not coming back? What are the chances of a deal happening, not happening? All kinds of things, right? So I think, yeah, again, I'm talking about a progression from just a chartered accountant using technology to a business accountant using technology to do business. Yeah, but very, very important role.
Excellent. I have the last couple of things actually to ask you. One is about, and I suppose people like me will ask this question every time, though it is very repetitive, which is about the innovative approach to life. Now, in your case, and especially the multi transitions that you've seen, and the fact that, born in the media industry, not the easiest industry, and you decided to stay in this industry, all the ventures that came later, while you picked up the VC side and the digital strong tech industry also in a very big way, pure evolution in the correct direction, but media stayed core to you. Now, and the space really thrives on innovation. How do you see yourself bringing or your expertise playing a role in decision making, strategy, etc., ensuring that your innovation is innovative enough, not just for the name of it?
Yeah. So, yeah, media is close to my heart. And my VC experience has taught me that um, the power of content, if fused with technology, can really create a lot of value, right? While media is very sexy, if I may call it, from outside, it's glitter and glamour, but it is a very hard business, right? It is a very hard business, whichever side of media, whether you are a news company or a company like yours, or an entertainment company, every day you have to produce content and attract eyeballs, right? And it's not easy, but there is a power that the media has in terms of ability to influence decision or uh, get mind share of people, right? And I'm talking more of the news side of media right now, and you know how uh, important that is, and especially during the elections, it plays a big role. So, um, so I feel that what we are looking at right now is professionally generated content, which is served um, to the audience. But what technology can do is open this door and make it not only professionally generated content, but also user generated content. I think when that mix happens, right, when uh, technology helps you talk back or give your opinion, which we have seen right today. If you look at the largest media company, is probably Google, or an Amazon. These are the big media companies, and these are the companies. If you look at the top three companies, where Google, Amazon, um, and Facebook, they get 80% of the ad revenues of the entire the media revenues of the world, right? So roughly about $250 billion is the total revenue, and I think these guys take massive, almost 200. So, so I think the idea is to fuse technology with content, and yes, and kind of open the doors for user generated content. Um, and also, this is kind of giving a voice to the youth. The reason that extra Y is there in my company, my take is MYY take is I felt that the youth is always used in some ways, right? So they are either voting and electing a government, or they are the workforce working for companies. But really, is their voice heard? So, technology can change all that, right? So, if, and that's my, and if we can get these young people the opportunity to, in whichever field, right, to talk back and express their opinion, which is what, say, Twitter is doing, which is what a lot of social media is doing, right? So, but there is so much more that can be done. So this is what I'm looking at. And every project, the sports project was all about that, how to kind of democratize sports. Now, several things that I'm looking at projects, it's all about that, right? Using technology to sort of expand the scope of the media. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Last question is really more about you. It's a personal question. What keeps you motivated? How do you balance from all these things that you're trying to do and keep your own mind creatively fresh or, strong enough? How do you recharge?
Well, I just like learning, and I feel that there is so much to learn, and I've just about started. So I think that is what keeps me going, and also taking risks, because I feel that in life sometimes we regret the things we have not done as opposed to what we have done. So I want to have less regrets, even if that means pivoting several times in my career and not following a straight path. I mean, I could have been a consultant and become a partner in one of the big four companies, or I could have remained in the media and be a CEO of a media company, or I could have been in the VC space, somebody else. But I just wanted to experiment and follow my heart and things that I want to do. So I have less regrets in my life, and that's what keeps me going, really. And people keep asking me about work-life balance, which is kind of cliche these days. And thank God you didn't ask it. But I don't believe in that. It's what you want to do. Like, look, you are there, not in India, and you're working, right? And you love your work, and and you get like 2 days to put together something really big, and you're doing that. So I think that's what it is.
Again, thank you so much. I have to say that the media industry in India is richer because you decided to stay on this path and this course. I would have really said that you have a dream trajectory. And I know that many young CAs will be hearing this and reading your interviews. And your advice to them and your example to them is actually quite the inspirational. So I have to thank you, Mr. Banerjee, for your time, for your advice, and your very, very candid inputs throughout this conversation. Really learned myself a lot from this.
Thank you so much, Noor. You're very kind. God bless you.